Hello dear students, I am Dr. Garima Srivastava from Lal Bahadur Shastri College, Lucknow. Now we have talked about equality at workplace, we have talked about diversity of work management and bringing about uniform platform for both the employees, giving them equal opportunities at the workplace. All this comes when we study global organization structures. Our next topic related to diversity is global organization structure. So, when we talk about global organization structure, what is global organization structure? For this we need to understand what is an organization structure. Now, what organization structure is? It is a framework of how employees are placed in the organization. That means, it presents their value, it presents their place in the organization. We have an organization structure which represents top management, which represents middle management and the lower management. This structure represents different people working at these places, these particular nodes, and they are related to their job responsibilities and duties. So, global organization structure is a way a company aims to merge local preferences with global strategy. We have to put up some strategies while placing organization structure in a subsidiary in the international environment. It cannot be same as experienced in the home country. Why? Because when we prepare this organization structure for our international assignment, there are certain factors from the external environment that come into play. So, organization structure is a framework on how employees work based on their duties and positions. Organization structure is a hierarchy of the people or employees in the organization. It will represent their functions in the organization and how they are going to streamline their operations and processes within an organization. So, it is a critical part, it is a crucial part of the company, and it defines the flow of work of the people, it defines accountability of different peoples, and it also defines the authority, that is authority to take decisions by different people in the organization. So, this is an example of an organization structure. We have at the top management the CEO of the organization, at the middle level management we have two managers, manager production, manager marketing, and we can say at a lower level management we have foremen in both the departments, production department and marketing department, and we have certain workers under these foremen in these two departments. So, this is an example of a structure that can be followed in a subsidiary that is being set up in the international country or in the host country. So, this particular structure of the organization, what it represents? Down the line, it says that instructions will follow down the line. It will move from the top management to the middle management to the lower management. The suggestions, the recommendations will always move from bottom to up. That means, middle level management or the lower level management are ready to give encouragement to the recommendations and suggestions to the top management. Policies, rules, regulations, procedures, they will always flow from top management to the lower level management. So, that is why organization structure is important for the companies that are going to expand in the host country. Now, how is it related to international human resource management? When a business is small, that is a small business owner may start out with only one employee or 2-3 employees, because his business is small. In this case, organization and staffing simply involves efficient allocation of owner's time and attention to various tasks associated with the business. So, over here, since the business is small, one person or a set of 2 or 3 people or 10 people can do the business on the whole. But as the company starts to grow, more employees will be needed, they will be hired for the organization, and then it becomes useful to explicitly look into how tasks will be defined, how tasks will be allocated to different people in the organization, who will be given more tasks, who will be given more responsibility plus authority, who will be the people who will be given less responsibilities and less authorities in the organization. Furthermore, if company still expands to overseas operations, it takes on additionally complexity as decisions have to be made with which addresses global as well as local product design, local responsiveness to individual markets and cross border financing. Many other factors from the external environment also come into play. Sometimes what happens when the business expands in the overseas, the governments from those particular host countries, they impose certain regulations on the businesses. They say that 60% of the people will be hired from the same country, that is the host country. Now, it becomes difficult for the organization if it has already made up his mind with a certain organization structure. So, it is important before preparing this organization structure for a subsidiary in the overseas market, you have to look after all the factors that are related to organization structure. As an international side of the business grow, many companies conclude that the reorganization of some type can better handle current international business demands. So, that means you can flexibly bring about changes, bring about restructuring of already existing structures in the home country. You need to study those structures that are present in the home country organizations, and you have to compare, you have to apply various factors which are present in the external environment of the international country, and then bring about restructuring of this structure for the subsidiaries that are established in the host country. Following are the several common international structures those exist in the organization. We have 5 global structures. The very first one is global division structure. Now, over here the organization is divided on the basis of different divisions it has. It is the need of the organization that it looks into the fact that whether it is going to deal with international operations in a separate kind of division of the organization. So, as you can see in the diagram, the finance, marketing, production and HR division were already there. Now, the organization has expanded in the overseas market, and it has started off a separate line of division, that is international operations. Now, under the international operations, it has put up all the countries where the international import or international trading is done, or international expansion of the business is done. So, group each international business activity into its own division. It creates a critical mass of international expertise. What happens if we start to create global division structure, our separate division of international operations in the business, in the organization, this structure will give specific emphasis on the division structure and specific emphasis on the international operations when we talk about overseas assignments. It prevents duplication of activities, sometimes which come in the product structure, duplication of activities come, but in this structure duplication of activities are lesser there. This structure is more suited for multi-domestic strategies that demand little integration and standardization between domestic and foreign operations. Certainly, this type of structure has advantages as well as disadvantages. One of the advantage of international division structure is it effectively consolidates international activity under one area of responsibility. That means, if one separate division is kept in the organization structure for international operations, it will be given a separate emphasis, and organization will look into this expansion as a separate view. Such divisions develop international expertise. The people hired for these divisions have developed expertise for these international operations, and it serves all the areas of the organization. This operation, international operations division, it will be able to serve to all, it will be able to give inputs to all the other departments. Why? Because it is being exposed to international operations, and it is getting somewhat more experience than other departments who are just facing domestic factors. This eliminates the need for every part of the organization to master the ins and out of doing business overseas. Its disadvantage include that the home country market, while international division serves the rest of the country. There is always a focus, there is always a view of the business that look into the home country, and leaving behind this particular division, they have to see it for themselves. So, what happens, all the 4 departments that were apart from the international operations, they were taken into one. That means 4 divisions have one perspective, while only one division has a perspective for the global view. This becomes somewhat inequality. This creates imbalance between the activities of rest of the activities of the organization as compared to international operations. In most organizations, such a structure leads to itself and to a continuing preoccupation with home country environment, home country market. What happens, in some cases international operations division starts to fail because there is no input from the rest of the departments of the organization. So, what happens, the organization also has focus on the rest of the departments, on the activities of rest of the departments, and leaving behind the international operations division. So, it becomes very important if we adapt this kind of a structure, equal emphasis, equal focus has to be placed on international operations division also, and rest of the organization from the departments from the home country will have to give input to the international operations department also. The next type of structure is global functional structure. Now, we talk about functional structure, it means the division of organization structure or division of organization on the basis of its function. Now, as the company becomes more serious about overseas business, it often finds it useful to adopt some more sophisticated global structure. This sophisticated global structure, one of the example is product mix, singular or limited structure. A CEO will oversee a number of business functions that have been identified as critical business operations, since the product mix is singular or limited. So, over here it has certain advantages, the product structure. Economies of scale can be adopted by grouping these resources by functions. When we group the various parts of the department, we have a diagram of this particular kind of structure. Over here you can see the production function, the finance function, the marketing function, 3 types of function are there. For all the 3 types of function, domestic production, domestic and foreign operations are separately kept for product A, B, C, D, product A, B, C, D for foreign production. Similarly, marketing for foreign domestic marketing A, B, C, D product, and foreign marketing the product A, B, C, D. So, over here what happens, separate emphasis on separate functions is given. It builds around basic tasks of the organization. Economies of scales can be received. So, that means one resource can be utilized in both the ways, either in domestic or in the foreign production. Similarly, either in domestic market or in the foreign market, if we talk about marketing division. So, same resource can be optimally utilized for both the kind of functions. The central human resource function can serve as a consultant to all the parts of the organization on issues such as pay and performance evaluation. So, this kind of structure based on functions, it will also provide a central human resource function, a centrally located framework which provides a uniform or standard pay or performance evaluation methods for everyone. Why? Because it has been divided on the basis of function. So, as the function is performed, your appraisal will be such that. The functional organization also enables the organization to standardize policies, practices and procedures that can be carried out throughout the organization. So, if the organization is based on functions, separate strategies, separate policies need not to be there. You can adapt standard policies for all the functions. It is just that one function has these set of policies and they have to follow. Either it is domestic function or it is foreign function. Disadvantages of this type of structure: the primary focus of the business in functional activity which distracts organization from specific product requirements, customer needs and geographical discrepancies. Now, this type of structure focuses on the type of function, it focuses on efficiency of the function, it focuses on the success of the function only, leaving behind the certain aspects, certain other aspects which should not be overlooked, like the customer needs, the product requirements, the geographic discrepancies which are always there between the home country and the host country. So, all these factors which are different between the two countries, they will pose a problem for this kind of structure. So, we have the third kind of structure, that is the global product structure. We can again divide an organization structure on the basis of our products. Global product structure are often chosen in the companies with an array of diverse product lines. So, if a particular organization has a number of products or a number of combination of product or services, this kind of structure can be adopted, because over there functions will be reduced. Functions will be almost similar in all of the products, but the number of product lines will be more. You can see an example on the left hand side. In the diagram it is already given that the organization structure has 5 products A, B, C, D, E. We can see one of the product, it is being catered in 5 countries: North America, South America, Europe, Australia and Far East. Similarly, other products will also be catered to some other countries. So, this is always done when different product lines exist in an organization. Each product line is assigned to its own organizational unit. That means, every product will have its own unit, will have its own functions such as HR, marketing, IT and other departments. And similarly, the product B will also be having its own departments. The focus in the product structure is on the characteristics and demands and needs of the customer, because product is of prime focus. Now, what our product is, the characteristics of the product, how they can be changed according to the changing needs of the customers. Then if the customers are from the home country or are from the domestic market, are they different in the host country? What is the difference between customers of the home country as well as the host country? All these things are analyzed under the product structure. So, of course, we need to see if there are a diverse kind of product, there are a number of product lines in an organization, this kind of structure should be adapted. Advantages of this kind of structure is that it focuses its attention on the resources towards a single product and the customer towards which the product is targeted. That means, it takes into consideration the product itself, the different features of this particular product. That means, every product will be taken up very keenly, very separately from other products. It will be studied, it will be analyzed, its demand will be analyzed, and the customer who needs this product will also be analyzed. So, that means, we are generally generating a type of organization which is directly aiming at customers. Depending on the needs, depending on the demands of the customer, the product will be changed, the product's characteristics will be changed, and this study will be done under the product structure. The product structure for the success of product and distractions are minimized. If you want success in this kind of a structure, the distractions or some kind of biasness, the different data sets, the untrue data sets need to be minimized, because this structure is more and more based on collection of information from the customers as well as information about the product. So, if this information is incomplete or untrue, over there this kind of structure may tend to fail. Then comes disadvantage of this kind of structure. Redundancies often exist across product organizations as functional responsibilities are duplicated. Now, of course, we know if one product is having all the functions, similarly the other product will also be having all the function, the third product will also be having all the function. So, there will be a duplicacy of all the functions under different products. So, with this duplicacy you will be required n number of people, and which can be reduced. Why? Because same person can perform his own function for different products. Over here the economies of scale will not be able to attain. The organization will be spending more on the resources, it will be spending more on the analysis of each of the product as compared to generation of revenue of the product for the organization. So, economies of scale and scope are more difficult to achieve, as this organization structure encourages less cooperation and less coordination across the product units. So, if you are dividing the organization structure on the basis of different products, the people also tend to be less cooperative among themselves. There is lesser of team building, and say suppose product A people, specialized people are not going to help the product B specialized people. So, the people are not going to cooperate and they will not share the information which is related to the different products, because products are altogether different now. So, in this structure economies of scale is failing. Then comes global area or geographical structure. Now, as we talk about area or geographical structure, it means dividing your organization on the basis of area or geographical parts into which your business is being catered. An area structure is often chosen by the company who wants to emphasize geographically specific strategy and focus decision making on local needs. Organizations may be divided into regional and country structures, where country managers operate rather autonomously and business supported by the array of local functions. So, over here this kind of structure, different geographical regions are at the topmost level, and every region will have its own set of departments, will have its own set of functions as well as products. This type of organization operates as a self-contained business within the substantial local authority. Now, what happens in the area or geographical type of structure of business, the different area business or different geographically located businesses, they act as self-located, self-contained business. They have less of interference from the other businesses or other areas, rather than they do any kind of cooperation or share information with the other areas, which may again be leading to lesser of the responsibility of the people working in different areas of the organization. Now, some of the advantages that are related to this kind of structure is the country organization is capable of sensing and understanding the local conditions and is able to formulate strategies which effectively meet the need of local stakeholders. Now, if you understand the business through separate geographical areas, you will be analyzing the business to different factors that are related to these geographical areas. So, if you are analyzing these local areas, you will be analyzing the demands of the local stakeholders, local customers over there. So, policies will be easy to regulate. Policies in areas such as human resource management can be tailored to meet the needs and expectations of the local employees. Product mix and design can be optimized to local conditions, and organization can respond more quickly to certain circumstances on the ground. So, this is very helpful structure where you are basing your organization on the basis of one geographical region. That means, if you are taking one region as one division of your organization, this region will be separately studied, separately analyzed, the problems will be separately taken up, and it will be coming up with probable separate policies and procedures which will be local for the local people over there over this particular geographical region. Then comes disadvantages. Economies of scale will be harder to achieve as different localities develop and implement very different product strategies. So, it is not always possible that if you take one geographical region as one division of the organization, different local authorities, local functional expertise will come into play, which will again lead to lesser of economies of scale in the organization. Invest resources in developing local functional expertise and efforts which may well be duplicated and unnecessarily geographical units. So, again duplication of functions, duplication of divisions will take place across different geographical areas, and if you are not well versed with local authorities, if your reputation with those local authorities is not good, then in that case the efforts of your top management, efforts of your middle level management will also go in vain. This is a diagram of global area division, where the structure has been divided on the basis of area, that is North America, South America, Europe, Asia and Africa. This is one division altogether, and for example, it has taken into many states of Europe, countries of Europe. So, this kind of structure will always help when you take it as a separate part, or you take areas where you cater your product or division in different parts of the world. Lastly, we have a matrix structure which can be a solution for all kinds of problems that are there in the rest of the structures. A matrix structure is often adopted in the organization that would likely to optimize decisions across multiple organization dimensions. Now, when we talk about matrix, it is playing on multi-dimensional organization. That means, on one dimension we can have product, on other dimension we can have division, and on the third dimension we can have the area. So, combination of these three dimensions can present your multiple matrix structure. That means, you are looking together all the kinds of dimensions of the structure at one time, and at the same time you are trying to optimally utilize your resources, reducing the duplicacy of resources which were there in the other structures, and trying to achieve economies of scale for the organization. A matrix structure simultaneously utilizes two or more dimensions, for example, product, geographical or functional dimensions, to organize the company's work. In case two or more dimensions may have different links to the head of the organization, key individuals throughout the organization may actually report to more than one dimension. So, this has certain advantages. Matrix allows functional efficiencies to be achieved while also allowing management to discrete product lines. That means, at the same time you will be able to cater to the problems of the function as well as the problems of the different product lines. You will be able to take into account the different changing needs and preferences of the customers, as well as implementing them into the strategies to bring about changes in the characteristics of the product itself. Product managers remain focused on specific customer and product issues, yet can tap specialized support system offered by strong functions. So, that means they will focus on customer and product lines, product issues, and they will be supported by various functions, that whether this particular change in characteristic can go or not. Similarly, where a geographical dimension is included in the structure, country managers or other local personnel can devote their attention to the development of location specific strategies. Communication and information sharing may also be facilitated through multiple dimensions. So, there will be more cooperation and more team building amongst the various departments of the organization. There are certainly some disadvantages of this structure also. The matrix structure is a very complex structure. So, when we talk about more than one dimension, more than two dimensions, many other complex factors come into play which need to be studied very separately. So, it presents a complex issue, complex problems in front of the human resource department, and it often involves additional coordination cost because it is very difficult to operate. Sometimes what happens due to this complex nature, at one time taking up multiple dimensions in the organization, confusion and ambiguity can result, and from multiple reporting relationship, as a single individual may receive conflicting directions from various supervisors. So, there is no uniformity of command, unity of command in the organization. So, all these 5 structures can be studied, and adoption of any of the structure will be based on the needs of the organization, will be based on the type of geographical area you are expanding, the customers, their needs and demands of those customers, the government rules and policies that will be implied on the organization as well as the employees, all the other factors of the external environment of the business have to be taken care of before taking into final decision of which kind of structure has to be taken up for the organization. Thank you all.